LEGO Club TV presents Behind the Bricks.
Here's a look behind the scenes at Country Buildin', a music video we made here at Pagonimation for the LEGO Club show in early 2011. Just like with any music video, it always starts with a song. The folks at LEGO sent us the audio track, and we started thinking about how the video for it would look, what things could be actual LEGO sets, and which things we'd need to design specifically for the video. For Country Buildin', we decided pretty early on that using larger characters, like the ones from Playback, would be the best approach. Since the lyrics of the song describe a scene with characters building some cool creations, we needed to have characters who were big enough to interact with LEGO bricks and elements. The music also gave the impression of being sung by two characters who were lively and movable, something that's much easier to get across with larger characters than it is with minifigures.
So here's the character we affectionately refer to as the Cowpoke, and he's a pretty good rig. His arms are pretty movable, he's got a waist that turns. Actually, we never really took advantage of it in the video, but he can also turn his entire torso, which could have been useful, but it's just another thing we would have had to think about, so we didn't do anything with it for this video. Got the mustache here, and he's also got this movable hair here. When I made the film Playback, which is where kind of the evolution of these characters started, I liked the idea of giving them sort of articulated hair to give their head a little bit more secondary action, give it a little character and bounce there. So these are all just hinges on the side, and so sort of when he sways his head this way, maybe this hair can bounce out, or actually I guess this hair would sort of fall out first, and then he would kind of move back and the hair would join the head. During production it was kind of an extra step to think about, okay, if his head's going this way, which ways should the hair be going, but I think it adds a little bit more to the character. And this belt buckle I'm pretty proud of too, and this is one of my favorite elements here. It's the little sun disc from the old Adventurer sets. I guess it was part of the Jungle Expedition ones, but yeah, so he's pretty much based on this character that I created. I was making instructions for a character for Brick Journal, and I made this guy in a tie with just sort of a plain body, and I adapted him to this character, giving him the hair and the hat and this sweet mustache that I was pretty proud of how it came out. Yeah, so the character, you know, when I was trying to look at the song and figure out who these characters were, I was saying to myself, alright, well the cowboy, he's sort of the main singer. He's the one who knows about building, kind of knows what's going on. I was playing a lot of Professor Layton at the time, and I kind of saw him as the Professor Layton, and then the other singer kind of becomes Luke, and you know, sort of the sidekick to the Cowpoke, and that's how he became the farm boy. A little bit of Professor Layton, a little bit of Hulk Hogan, definitely some Cowboy Curtis in there. I'm a big Pee-wee's Playhouse fan, and that design was definitely kind of coming in there, especially with the hair. And here we have the farm boy. Kind of tried to give him a little bit of a different feel than the Cowpoke. He's got a thinner body and also a shorter body overall to make him seem younger, and his face is kind of rounder too. And yeah, so he's got a different kind of hat. His body's got these overalls. If you notice, his hands are two different ways here. That kind of, this one's got the thumb on the top, and this one's got the thumb on the side. And that was, you know, sort of as they gesture in different ways, it calls for their hands to be doing different things. So sometimes the hand will need to be like this, or sometimes it'll need to be like this with a flat palm. And so depending on which sort of hand pose you needed would determine which hand you would use. The other thing about these characters is that sometimes they're just not very stable on the legs. I mean, you can kind of see they sort of fall forward and back. Anytime there's a shot where their legs are not on screen, it's pretty much just a matter of taking the legs out and sticking the characters on one of these stands. And it's just the stand from the old monorail sets, and basically it makes them a little more stable in terms of how they attach to the ground. And I got a piece here that attaches it so that it can fit right into the stand. And yeah, you basically just hide, you know, this behind the table, and then no one's the wiser. And over here we've got the Cowboys Mouths, and these are all the mouth shapes that would get switched out depending on the lip sync. And you can see there's about 8 different mouths for him, and each one is a different mouth sound. So the O is obviously like an ooh sound, and then the O that has like the teeth inside here. That's like more like an R or a ch sound. And so that I would have an idea of what mouth was coming up next, Jeff and I kind of came up with these different nicknames for the mouths. The teeth closed one is a double white mouth, and then this one that's kind of a white, black, white piece mouth, we called it the inverted Oreo. And just stuff like that helped the process to go a little bit smoother than having to remember, oh, it's the mouth that is kind of like an sound, so that, you know, we could avoid that and kind of know what we were talking about immediately. And then on the other side here, we got the kid's mouth shapes. Obviously he's got a fewer mouths than the cowboy does, but we also made him a little bit different so that we can give him a little bit of variety. So he doesn't have like the tongue at the bottom of his mouth that the cowboy does. And then here's his eyelids too. Because his eye has the white part attached, we needed to take that out all as one piece, so the eyelid is kind of an entire covering for his eyes. And then just over on the side we've got some other pieces. We've got his hair for the scene where he takes off his hat and dances, and we've got this brick that we kind of needed to prop him up on sometimes. This one was for occasionally it would look like there was like a blank space behind his arm when we would take his arm into a certain position, so we kind of like tried to patch that up a little bit. And yeah.
Stay tuned to LegoClub.com for future episodes of LEGO Club TV.